Okay, I'm putting this here to let you know you have been warned. This is not a politically correct, safe space, whatever type of crap that you need. I'm not going to be sensitive and sugarcoat this. I am talking about the black community. I will talk about both black men dating here as well as black women. If you cannot handle criticism, critique, real talk, do not watch any further. I'm putting all of this here at the beginning so I can make it very clear. Do not twist my words or misunderstand, misconstrue what I'm trying to say to you. I am not saying that everything in this video is right. I'm just acknowledging what happens. For example, I am not trying to support the idea behind colorism, futurism, texturism. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I'm also going to be honest with you. It does exist, and I do notice how people choose to date. And I'm also accepting the reality. So, yeah, take with that however, do with that what you will. I don't know how to put it, but I'm just throwing that out there. This is obvious common sense stuff. I'm also calling out some of the hypocrisies here. And again, as I've gotten older, I've learned and I've changed my perspective and mindset on things, but I do think it is still important to address where we came from and also talk about how some people didn't change. Just because you've learned and now you know and do better doesn't mean everyone else does. For example, I mentioned inside this video how, when we were kids going to school, that was like the norm. Whether you were dark skin or light skin, it was pretty common that everybody liked whoever the light skinned guy was with the light colored eyes and the quote unquote good hair type thing. And really, the same thing goes for the girls. Typically, the girls that were seen as popular or the baddies were the girls that were light skinned, preferably have light colored eyes, long, loose curls, etc. Speaking from a black perspective, keep in mind this video is about black people. White people, Asians, Latinos. If you guys choose to watch this video, go ahead. But please understand I'm talking to and about my community as a black person. I highly suggest that if you're going to watch, either stay very quiet or just, interesting in the comment section. You might want to stay out of this conversation, but I don't mind you getting informed too. Keep in mind that this is my observation, my opinion, and honestly my experience too. I'm just calling out some of the hypocrisies. There's some big issues with dating in Japan, in which I noticed that it seems like black men get upset if black women date Japanese men, but then these same men get mad when black women get mad at them for dating Japanese women. I just think that the whole thing is so stupid to me because the majority of people in Japan are obviously Asian and Japanese. Why would you come to Asia if your goal is to marry or date a black person? That makes no sense. I'm not going to judge you for what you do, but I will also call out I see the reason why people do come to Japan. For example, I'm no dummy. Before that phrase even existed, passport bros. That's been a thing for decades. It's nothing new. I'm well aware that a lot of the people that run away to Asia, it's to be a colorist. I mean, think about it. If you don't want to marry a black woman, what better way to give you the most options than to go to a country that's full of non-black women? Likewise, I see the reverse too. If you're, really into the idea of divesting or you really just want to have mixed race kids, what better place to go than Europe, Asia, wherever else? I'm just saying it how it is. This is not to say what's right or what's wrong or whether you should or shouldn't do it. I'm just calling it out. Watch the video. I'll go into more detail about it. But please understand, I'm speaking bluntly here. I'm not, sugarcoating it to make it sound sweeter or to avoid hurting feelings. I do directly address dark and light skin and biracial. I say everything how it is. If you don't want to hear that, don't watch this content. I'm on nobody's side but the truth, as I always say. So anyway, without further ado, here's the video. Hey, what's up? It's Comic95, the Savior, and for this video, I will be talking about a personal topic as a black woman here in Japan. So, as you already read from the title, this is going to have a lot of you guys feeling divided on this issue. This is not up for a debate. I promise you, this is like factual. If you live in Japan and you're real yourself, you can agree with all the points that I'm making. But of course, we're human. Everyone will never agree on any topic. I can literally say, the sky is blue, grass is green, Jesus Christ is real, and there's going to be people that would disagree with that. But anyway, back on subject. I want to give a few or a couple of disclosures to explain this so that we don't have any confusion in my comment section. 1. I am a fully black woman. I am not biracial. I am not mixed race. Not that it should matter anyway, but it does, because apparently if I don't state these things, people make up scenarios in the comment section about me. 2. I am an American, full disclosure. Some of you might not like Americans. I don't give a fuck. This is my channel and you're on an American platform. And number 3, I am married. I have no skin in this game. I noticed that when I make other videos talking about dating issues here, black men that are like anti-black women, like they try to like clown me and joke about dating difficulties they believe that I must have because I'm a black woman. And I'm thinking to myself, no, sir, actually I'm married. And also, while we may not necessarily be the standard of beauty, you guys aren't, and people are afraid to date you. Like, at least we don't have that issue as black women. But that's another topic, and we'll get into that in another video. So now that we have that out of the way, I have no skin in this game. I'm just here to drop a few gems, give a few facts, and also call out a few hypocrisies in the black community within Japan. So let's get started. I'm not going to put this in any particular order. I should have numbered it so I could stay on topic, but we're just going to, rant a little bit here. The first thing that I hate is, I talked about this in another video that I made about black problems in Japan, so please check out that playlist. I already made videos talking about some of these issues, but I want to dive a little bit deeper. I hate the fact that there's, this weird double standard. So, black women complain about black men not wanting to date them here, right? And then black men don't complain about that because they have no problem with getting black women to date them. But the problem is the black women that the black men in Japan want to date don't want them. Myself being one of them, prior to me being now married. Even though that hasn't stopped people from still talking to me, even though I'm married with my husband, have a ring on. God forbid the days where I don't have my ring on and I'm not with him, or even the times when we are together, because everybody just assumes that clearly I can't get any love here, because I'm a black woman. So I clearly cannot, that couldn't be my boyfriend. He must just be a guy that happens to be walking super close to me or behind me, near me, whatever. So anyway, I find it comical because it's okay, you all don't, how can I put it? You're mad that Japanese men don't want to date you as a black woman. And then you're more mad at the fact that black men don't want to date you because you feel like they should be coming to save you, to the rescue, right? But then it's why do y'all choose to come to Japan if you know in your heart you want to marry a black man? Don't get me wrong. I do know of, actually, I would argue, I know of more black couples in Japan than I know of where one partner's Japanese, one's black. And that goes for both males and females. That would be my experience. I can't speak on what statistically is true, though, even though I imagine statistically that would be the case for most people. But I'm not talking about those that I've met prior to coming here. I mean, even people that live here. The majority of black women that I know that have a boyfriend or a husband or in long-term situationships, living with a guy they've known for years, going 50-50, working miscellaneous jobs, etc. I ain't gonna say no names. But the people that I know of here, yeah, they normally have a black boyfriend. So the real issue at hand is, it's not that black people don't want to date each other. It's the people don't, more so it's the fact that people aren't matching up with the person that they want. So for example, black men do like black women, but they want a certain phenotype. They want a girl that either is biracial, a girl that is mixed race, Blasian, whatever, or a girl that at least looks like she is. For example, I told you guys this before, not to pat myself in the back, but just being honest, I've had no problem with getting black men to find me attractive here. Anytime that I've passed by a black man, they've normally hailed me, tried to talk to me. Same thing goes for social media. Never pass by a black guy, Tinder, pairs, etc. Every time they see me, I get super liked in my DMs if I don't match with them, whatever. And I don't say this to brag, but I'm just saying, look, I'm not the best looking person here. I'm also not the lightest and brightest here either. So as you guys will make sure that you remind me that too, even though I never said that I was, but whatever. So anyway, yes, it's not that black men don't like black women. They like a specific type. And I could also argue the same thing goes for you all. In my opinion, the reason why I didn't normally date black men here, even though I have dated a couple of them, even though it wasn't under normal circumstances, just keeping it real. The reason why, the black women that don't date black men, it kind of goes underneath the same category. A lot of the black men here are not attractive. They're short, they're fat, they're ugly, they're bums, they're broke. And all I have to say is this is I think about myself. I've had black men that got mad at me because of who I've dated, but it's why would I go to Japan to date a black man when literally 99% of the population is Japanese? And not just that, the likelihood of you having a job that's going to compare to the type of men that I can attract that are Japanese is, well, slim to none. There are not black doctors running around here. There are not black lawyers. There are not, black, whatever, accountants here. The people that are foreigners, white, black, whatever race you are, as a man, more than likely, you will be making no more. You cap out at 10 million yen. It's rare to meet a foreign man that's making more than that. Now, granted, there are some that make 15 million yen per year, but you would be the exception, not the rule. And 9 times out of 10, those men come here with a wife and kids, or they have a girlfriend already, like they're not looking to date. And with that said, I just think it's stupid. If you know you plan to live somewhere for the rest of your life, why would you not marry a partner from there? For example, people that choose to immigrate, migrate, whatever the hell you want to use the word, to go to the US, who do they normally marry? A American, right? They normally marry a white, black, whatever, Asian, somebody that has US citizenship, because it wouldn't make sense to play life on hard mode being married to a fellow immigrant. Now, mind you, in the US, it is much easier to have two people that are on green cards have a normal life in America. But Japan, that's not the case. And also, let's address the elephant in the room. If you have a small dating pool of people, you likely will have way less attractive, way less eligible people, way less people that have the money that you want, the height, the size, the weight, the age that you're looking for. Whereas if you're dating Japanese people that make up the majority of this country, you're dealing with millions of people to choose from, millions of people that look good, millions of people with good jobs, millions of people that are tall. You don't have those options when you're dating black people that live here in particular. But being honest, even if I go to the US, when I dealt with people, like I had so many people that are classmates of mine that tried to reach out to me after I came to Japan, people that were cool in school, that were, were too good for me. But now that we're grown, not everyone wants to date you, right? I'm talking about the light-skinned guys, the dark-skinned guys, the biracial men, all of these men that I went to school with, right? But it's like, now that we're grown, which I want to make another video about that topic. I have to write that down. But yeah, like now that we're grown, it's like people don't understand we have adult wants and needs. It's no longer just about who's the cutest and coolest. I saw somebody make I think it was a tweet. I want to make a video about that. I need to write that down before I forget. Give me just a second. Okay, anyway, I wrote it down. But it's like, I understand how that can be confusing, but welcome to reality and adulthood and real life. Likewise, if you are a man and you're not somebody offering community dick, well, you might have found that girl to be so beautiful. She was the baddest of the baddest in high school, right? Well, now that you're an adult, you're around way more women. You're not limited to the small pool of girls in your classroom or in your grade level or in your school. Now you have a world of women. Now you have social media, you have dating apps, you have bars and clubs. There's so many places that you can meet women now. So while somebody might have been the cutest in school for where you were, they're not actually beautiful out in the real world. Not to mention, even if you do think they're very attractive, okay, that fine girl, the cool girl in school, well, now that she's a baby mama and she has 5 kids, you're probably not dreaming of marrying her anymore. Those thoughts have gone away. And so it's the same thing here. It's a reality check for you. Sure, granted in your classroom you may be cute, but now you're out in the real world. And here in Japan, it's like your community, if you're sticking to your race, is a small class. And this goes for both black men and black women. And black women aren't going to like me saying this. Let me remind you, I am black just like you. I am not half Latina. I am not half white. I am not half Asian. I am fully black just like how you are. And just like you as a black American, I'm about a quarter white, Asian, whatever. So by that standard, sure, I'm mixed race. But I don't give a fuck. I'm going to speak on this topic. So, back on subject. The reality is, a lot of y'all just aren't attractive. It's not that black men hate black women. You're just not attractive. You're not what these guys are looking for. And to be honest, I don't understand why the feeling isn't mutual. Why do you all want to date somebody that has no money anyway? The majority of black men living here are broke. They're not educated, or shall I say, they're not highly educated. They don't have good jobs. They're working as teachers. At best, they might have some sort of like finance engineer-like job, typically not making more than 8 million yen, which, granted, that's a okay salary. You're not doing half bad. Even Japanese women prefer a man that's making between 6 to 8 million yen. You will get more likes on dating apps just for being within that range. But granted, 8 and 6 million yen ain't shit when you're living in Tokyo, and also not when you're planning on having more than one child. Honestly, even with just one child, having that and a housewife, that's your whole salary right there. You're not going to be affording luxurious things in private school, but hey, if you want to do that, that's on you. No skin in this game. Do what you want to do. But anyway, yeah, I mean, we just have to acknowledge that. A lot of the black women that I see here, they're obese, they're ugly, they're not feminine looking, they don't act feminine, they don't dress feminine. You cannot compare. This is going to sound super colorist, whatever. I'm speaking blunt, and the men will agree with me. You cannot compare fit, beautiful women with long, nicely styled hair, wearing dresses and skirts, dressing modestly, to women that are wearing jeans and t-shirts and sneakers and, don't have their real hair out, don't have their hair nicely styled, no makeup. I'm just describing the average black person that I see here. Or it's overdone where they're wearing makeup and they have hair, but it's all of this hair and all of this makeup. Like, it looks like you're dating a drag queen. I'm just keeping it real with you. You cannot compare the two. If I were a man, yeah, I'd be dating a Japanese girl too over you, keeping it real. However, the reality is you do see black men with black women here. In fact, you see that more than you see black people, whether male or female, with Japanese. I feel like people have, how can I put it, selective, noticing of things because they want to see something. But I think it's also equally important to understand that everybody that's dating outside of their race is in one of these so-called divester, anti-whatever, which I think it's also important to acknowledge how all this stuff started in the first place. A lot of black men get mad and joke about divesters, but the reality is I didn't learn about this until I made my YouTube channel years later. Like, I literally just learned about this, I think in like 2021 or something. Never heard of it prior to that. But people started telling me about these other channels that existed, so I looked into them. In fact, it was funny because when I finally looked into them, I was like, oh, one of my coworkers told me about Chrissy, but I'd actually never watched her content, never heard of her before, and I guess it's because I'm not a dark-skinned black woman and her content is not made for me. But I did listen to it, and I did agree with the majority of what she had to say. Some things I didn't, but I got the overall gist of it. So I think it's important to acknowledge that we're not doing the same thing. Like, what black women are doing is a result of what black men have always done. Black men, on the other hand, cannot say the same thing. Black women, overwhelming majority of us, are very loyal to and only want to date and or marry a black man. In fact, I could be honest with myself. If black men had their shit together, they were as educated, they were as financially stable, they wanted to provide like how other races of men do, I would never have dated outside of my race. I love black men. I do find them to be attractive. However, I'm also not blind by my race. I don't think every black man is attractive. I've seen tons of ugly black men for sure. I don't think every man is attractive because he has money, and I don't think every black man looks good. But I would have rather found a handsome black man, keeping it real. Speaking blunt. However, after coming to Japan, no regrets. Love my husband. Find him very handsome. Love that he has a good job. I love that he provides. No regrets as far as that goes. But the idea that black women are doing the same thing is debatable. Like I said, it's a response to what black men have done, which is they've pedestalized non-blackness. For example, I'm not biracial, but I get treated like I am here. One of the first things a black man will say to me is that they like Blasians, or I like girls, your skin complexion, whatever the case happens to be. They will tell me that they're a colorist, they're a texturist, and they compliment my hair, my skin, whatever else, and they assume that I'm mixed race. And so I've even had people that think that I'm Latina, and I'm not. But anyway, back on subject. It's like, the issue is that black women are responding to the colorism, the texturism, the phenotype, whatever thing, obsession that black men have with non-blackness. And that also some girls have just gotten smart and realized, why we want to be with a man that, notoriously is going to leave us when we get pregnant, doesn't want to pay bills, either wants to go 50-50 or wants to be taken care of. Don't get me started on criminal records, baby daddy stuff. The list just goes on. And granted, it's not every black man, but don't lie to yourself. It's the majority of you. The same black men that will get mad at me saying this, you don't have a father in your life. And if you do have married parents, that your biological father is married to your biological mother, and they were married before your mother got pregnant with you. I should also add, even if that is your case, because for example, that was my case. The reality is you likely did not have a normal upbringing in comparison to a white or Asian person. And on top of that, while you may be that anomaly, you do not have the same story to tell for your friends and other relatives. You are the exception, not the rule. And the black community doesn't like to hear this, but well, it's the truth. I should also have the same thing goes to black women. While you may dress feminine, you may wear dresses, you may wear natural looking makeup, you may wear, I can't talk right, your natural hair, whatever the case happens to be, you would be the exception and not the rule. I don't make the rules. Black women, don't come for me. I'm literally telling you what's in the book. I ain't write the motherfucker. I'm just telling you what's in it. I read it. And if you don't like what I have to say, I don't give a fuck. That's the wonderful thing about facts. They don't care about your opinion. They don't care about your feelings. Facts are just facts. Feelings do not fucking matter. Whether you think it's fair or nice is irrelevant. Now, I will agree, there is a lot of colorism that goes on here. Texturism, which is the reason why black men pedestalize the biracial appearance or mixed race people or lighter skinned people. But then I could argue that can be said for any race. For example, white people prefer people that have more tan complexions, blonde hair, blue eyes. Asians, they prefer people that have pale skin, big eyes, the same thing. You can argue that those are phenotypes and futurism, texturism, whatever you want to call it. They do the same thing. Same thing goes for noses. The average Asian person actually has a big nose, but you would know that because the way that they show like things like anime characters, the people that they have as their models, they choose people that have a certain phenotype. And the black community doesn't talk about this very much, but the average Asian person, their nose is just as big as a black person. Now, granted, not everyone. Like if you're indigenous from Africa, maybe not necessarily, but for example, my husband has a bigger nose than I do. And so he's not alone. A lot of them have not necessarily the same size nose as me. Smaller, but still a big nose. Their noses are also flat. Their noses are also wide. And so again, this is futurism. And for their own race of people, they prefer people to have a more so-called high nose bridge. A tall, thin nose is preferred, even though that's not natural. The average Asian person also has small eyes, no double eyelid. I have small eyes in the US, but in Asia, my eyes are big. In fact, I have the preferred eye shape. My eyes still have the almond, shape look thing going on. My eyes are still slanted, but I have a double eyelid and my eyes are big. And so for here, this is the perfect shape, but this would be futurism. Why do they like big eyes? Well, it's associated with westernness. So it's really the same situation going on. And then like the other dumb thing that I mentioned before too is like, if you don't like black men for being colorist, you don't want to marry a Japanese person because they're colorist too. They're colorist and they like certain phenotypes as well, and they like anti-Asianness. Like that goes for every culture. So I'm not saying that it's right, and I'm not denying that it's rooted in, Eurocentric beauty standards, whatever. That's true. But I feel like it's also disingenuous to not mention that, well, you can't really escape it. It goes for all communities. Now, I will be honest, our community has the biggest gender war going on, even more so than Asian men with Asian women in the US, I would argue. But keep in mind that we're dealing with Japan and not talking about Asian Americans. We're talking about Japanese people born and raised in Japan. So yeah, I don't know where I'm really getting with this, but all I want to say is this, is black men do like black women, but they're not obligated to date you just because you're black. And it's not even just colorism, it's just a matter of you being unattractive. Some of you guys are ugly, you're into now. You think you look good because you have light skin, but no, you're ugly. I've seen people that are black, biracial, whatever, that swear that everything's racist and color, etc. It's like, no, you're just unattractive, and you spent your whole life thinking that you look good because you have lighter skin and or you're mixed race. I'm sorry, but having long hair and being biracial does not make you attractive to men. Sorry to break it to you, but a lot of people have spent their whole life being praised for their hair, being praised for their skin. I'll never forget that post I saw from that girl that was, confused about why she's having issues with dating. And it's like, ma'am, I can tell you right now, the reason why you're having trouble with dating is you're fat, you're not attractive, and people feel like they're being catfish when they see you in person. Because your photos are so heavily edited and you're not showing people the entirety of your body. Now, she didn't say this, she seemed like a sweet person, but I can imagine in her mind, she's probably thinking about all the time she's been told about how, you're mixed, you got that good hair, whatever. And the reality is, sure, in the black community, people will like you, date you, praise you just because you're biracial. And while people might have interest in you here, nobody's gonna think, oh my God, you're the most gorgeous girl in the world. Wow, you have a white mother. Instead, their mindset is gonna be, she's not attractive, she's fat, I'll fuck you, but date you? No. And so this girl was having trouble even getting people to sleep with her. And so that's another sign right there. So look, I'm not here to judge you. I'm not a man, I'm not who you're trying to date, but clearly the men have spoken for themselves. So my point is this. Yes, colorism does exist. Texturism does exist. There is anti-blackness from black men towards black women here. I'm not denying those things. Don't get me wrong. But I will say I feel like a lot of people aren't being honest with themselves. A lot of the black men here don't want to date you all because you're just not good looking. And especially when you're comparing you to the Asian women that exist here. Why would somebody want to date a girl that looks way worse versus one that looks way better and provides them with an easier standard of living, because that girl is going to be able to speak, read, and write in Japanese and basically, kind of take care of them in a way. There's a word they use for it. I can't think of the word. I call them visa mamas, but there's another word that foreigners use here to refer to these people. But anyway, it's called a nanny mom or whatever it is. A nanny wife, whatever the term is, where basically your wife does everything for you, your Japanese wife. I don't know the term. I call them visa mamas. So anyway, yeah, there's a lot of that, especially, look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, especially if you're dating non-black Americans. I can't speak for black people from the UK because I've never come across a black man from the UK. I was just listening on Spotify the other day to some rap song that got suggested to me there, and I hate using Spotify, but I was using it. And so, oh my God, I'm not going to lie. It's hard to listen to rap music from the UK because it doesn't sound real. It's like, how you sounding hard? You got a British accent. But anyway, at the same time, they make some good music. If you ever play Sleeping Dogs, the rap music there is from a lot of people that are from the UK. So, hey, the music can be good, but it's comical to me. And it always makes me think back to 21 Savage. But that's another story. Why is my phone going off right now? But yeah, you just have to be real with yourself. A lot of you guys are simply unattractive. You're older, you have children, and you would just make life harder for them, not easier. And also, let's keep it real. The other add-on to it is, yes, like I said, we have to acknowledge colorism is a thing. Some people truly do not want to marry a black person. Like, no matter, even if you're biracial, even if you're light-skinned, even if you're attractive, it doesn't matter how cute you are. They just don't want to be with somebody that is of, their race. Somebody that is similar to them. Somebody that has a lot of African DNA. So, that is also a point to add as well. But I should also add this too. While those people do exist, in my opinion, I feel like there's way less of those and way more of people that would date you if you were actually good looking. I also think that's kind of silly, again, bringing it back to the beginning. Why come to Japan if you know in your heart you want to be with a black man? Likewise, black men, why come to Japan if you know in your heart you want to be with a black woman? I will say, I saw an interesting video from a girl that was biracial that talked about this, and the idea that black men feel like they own you here. And it's like, I completely agree with that. And I don't feel like it's just here in Japan, like just in general, where it's like, they feel like because you're a black woman, you have like this undying loyalty that all of you do. They assume that all of you do. And so whether you're biracial, mixed race, whatever the case is, they have the courage and boldness to talk to you just because you have, their skin complexion. You are black like how they are. Like, regardless of what race you happen to actually be, whatever your mixture is, because they can see that African in you, they think that you are going to like them, that they have the right to talk to you, and then they play the same card that black women do, which is, if you turn them down, don't want to date them, they assume that you're anti-black, you don't like black men, you're colorless, whatever the case happens to be, which is stupid and kind of reverse psychology in a way too. They started this whole thing, and then when you do the same thing back, then they accuse you of being what they're denying being themselves, which I think is stupid. So I think it's also important to mention that just because you see somebody here that's black does not mean that they don't date their own race. Even if you see them on a date with somebody of the opposite race. Just because you see a black man on a date with a Japanese girl does not mean he only dates Japanese women. And likewise, just because you see a black woman on a date with a Japanese man does not mean she's not open to dating black men. But I also think that it's stupid to try to prove that you're open to dating anything when we're literally living in a country that doesn't have our own race overall. And I spoke about this before and I hurt feelings, but I don't really give a fuck. I think it's also important to acknowledge that depending on where you're from, you do have to be more cautious about dating your own kind. For example, for myself, I said this before, I'm not playing visa mom for no one. I don't care what country you're from. Especially not somebody that's not from a first world country. My husband's different. He's from an equally first world country. And my husband has no interest in going to the US. I am not sending money back home to Africa. I'm sorry. I'm not sending it to the Caribbean either. I'm not dating or marrying somebody from these countries. I actually dated a African guy one time. I don't remember what country he was from, and it was not a good date. He was rude. I didn't like him, and he was short. Not my type. Was he cute? Sure. Was he my type? No. And then, of course, talking to him more made me dislike him. Yeah, block, delete, done. I don't remember what his name was. But anyway, long story short, I'll talk about that in another video maybe someday. I think I did mention it a little bit, so anyway, yeah, I would have never married him though anyway, just keeping it real. And I wasn't really trying to date him. He was supposed to have been hanging out as a friend, but it kind of like, I think he saw it as a date. I'm kind of confused. Don't really understand. But it was really weird. Like, he went shopping with me. I don't even know. Why the fuck did I do that? That was really weird. Did I ask him to come with me? Or did he ask me if I wanted to go? I don't even know how the fuck that happened. But long story short, here goes my thing. It's nothing personal. It's not a matter of not being attractive. Because, yeah, I've seen videos, I've seen photos, I've seen people that are from Africa, that are from the Caribbean, that I found physically attractive. Do I find all of them attractive? No. And being honest, the majority of people that I have seen, I don't find attractive at all. Keeping it real. However, even if I found somebody that was attractive, I know that there's a high chance you're using me for a visa, and a high chance that you're going to be expecting our money to be getting sent back home to take care of your family. Too risky that you may have another family. Not doing that shit. I personally know people that have fallen into sham marriages, including a white chick that I knew who had that happen. She had a whole big church wedding. I said this before another video. Got married to this man from Africa, and literally, I think within a month or two, he divorced her, took his green card, and sailed off into the sunset. I'm sorry, that is never going to be me. That is embarrassing. No way. No. If something's going to happen, I'll let my marriage break down naturally as is. I don't want to have somebody use me for a fucking green card. No, thank you. And also, it kind of defeats the whole hypergamous thing. If I'm marrying somebody that's from a poor country, that's immediately a hypogamous relationship, meaning that me as the woman, I'm making more money than you. I don't want that. I'm sorry, I get it. Why people from, the Caribbean and Africa want to marry for visas and why they want to come to the U.S., but I can't relate to you. I'm not from where you're from. Sure, ancestral, yes, I am. My ancestors are from Africa. I'm of African origin, African descent. That's right, that's true. No shame in that. But I will also say, they gotta keep it real, it's a lot of scamming that goes on. I'm not getting caught up in that shit. And also, I don't want a man that I'm providing for, basically. So no. Sorry. And they gotta keep it real. For the Africans that do come to the US or Japan, whatever, that do have money, they don't even look our direction. They only, almost always, 9 times out of 10, they either come here with a spouse already, or they look specifically for a white or a Japanese spouse. Assuming you're talking about the US or Japan. That's on you. I'm not mad in y'all spaces and bitching to you all because I don't care. Not to mention, again, even the ones that are senior that have money, they're not normally attractive. And I'm sorry, but look, I love money, but I got my limitations. I'm not marrying some ugly ass man for money. Would I have done it in the past? Maybe. But like, fast forward today, no. I couldn't. It's too embarrassing to be seen out in public with you is how I see it. So, that's whatever. But anyway, yeah, like, let's just acknowledge that. Everybody is not obligated to be attracted to you just because you're black. And this goes for both black men and black women. And I think it's also important to understand that black men, if you're clowning black women, please understand, the only black women that have trouble dating here in Japan are the ones who quit and give up, and the ones that are truly unattractive. Because if you really just want to get married, or you just want a boyfriend or whatever, you can get that as a black woman here with ease. Much easier than black men can. And the reason being is, it is a lot easier for a woman to convince a man to marry them than it is for a man to convince a woman to marry him. Especially if you don't have money. As a girl, you don't need no money. All you have to do is look, I'm gonna keep it real. I met my husband at the lowest of the low points that I've had here in Japan. I had moments where I had no money, but I still had a place. I had no place. I was basically homeless. I was living out of a hotel. He not only moved me into his place, he married me. Like, you cannot do that as a black man. I'm just keeping it real. So, look, granted, I know I'm attractive. So, I'm not saying this is just for me. I mean women in general. And I didn't even have sex with him. No sex, no kissing, no holding hands, no hugging. Didn't do anything to get a roof over my head. Nothing. I didn't do anything to earn my Tiffany ring. Like, back on subject. So, this is my thing. You have to understand, everyone's not obligated to like you. And also, keeping it real, because we're dealing with a small portion of black people, even for the ones that have money or that are young and childless, you're dealing with a lot of unattractive people here. Keeping it real. The reality is, a lot of people that choose to come to Japan, they're kind of losers and lames. You have a bunch of losers, lames, lowlifes, weeboos. Not quite exactly the most attractive bunch of people. And these are the people that you see that choose to, they make YouTube videos and TikToks and blogs, and they're a part of these groups and whatnot, and they complain and bitch about their dating experiences, which nothing wrong with that. I have bad dating experiences. I would consider myself to be ugly, but the idea that like all black men are evil, none of them want to date you, that's not true, even in the US. So I will acknowledge this part though, and this is the part that I do agree with. The men that we would want to date generally don't want to date us. But you could argue the same thing. For the black men that are here that do date black women, the black women that they want to date, like myself, we don't want to date them. So it goes both ways. So we can't get mad at black men when we as black women, the ones that are attractive at least, they don't date black men. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I normally didn't, like, when I did this on Patreon before. I shared some black men's profiles I liked and I matched with, I exchanged messages with. And quickly after, literally minutes after talking, it was very obvious, like, yeah, this ain't finna go nowhere. This nigga broke. Baby daddy, I'm good. It was impossible. Like, it got to the point where it was like, I just knew that I wasn't gonna like a black man. I knew I wasn't gonna marry one, because one, it didn't make sense, and two, it's like the caliber, the type of men that you're dealing with, they're not what you want. And even in the US, like, for example, I'm not gonna lie, I almost want to say his name. It was this pretty boy that I went to school with. He had these pretty light-colored eyes. He was light-skinned. All the little stuff that everybody liked back in the day. Look, I'm keeping it real. We're not sugarcoating stuff. Y'all gonna be like, oh, you a colorist. Let's keep it real. If you a millennial, should I even say Gen Z if you're on the older end, and you went to school, you knew damn well the people that had the light-colored eyes, the people that had the light skin, the people that had the light-colored hair, those were the attractive people in school. He was the cool guy. He was muscular and everything. Well, guess what? Fast forward, we're grown now. He's short. He's a bum. He probably living with his mama. He ain't got the money to provide. And while he ain't a baby daddy, and he was trying to talk to me, I'm good on that. And I was kind of really mad. It's like, see, I knew he liked me. He was always kind of flirting with me a little bit at school, but like, he didn't really hang out with me. He would just kind of flirt with me. I was one of those in-between kids. Like I said, I wasn't a lame, but I wasn't popular. But like the popular girls, most of them, I won't say most of them, a quarter of them. Let me not lie, a quarter of them. About 30%-ish. They spoke to me. In fact, I even had some times that I asked me, why you hang out with these lames? And I would think to myself, like, these are the fun people. Like, when I hang out with them, all they talk about is being a hoe and sex and shooting guns and rap music. I like hanging out with the Ben 10 weirdos, you know, people running around the playground and pretending to be like Naruto and whatnot. Like, I like those weirdos. Y'all too busy trying to be grown and act cool, and, you know, y'all getting your brows done and fake lashes and shit. Like, I want to have fun. Like, I like the idea of being grown up too. Like, for example, I gotta make another video on that. Man, I got some crazy stuff to talk about. I'm probably gonna talk about this on a live stream before you see this. But me and my friends, we used to call, like, I can't say the word, checks. Fuck it, sex operators. And we were kids, and I feel so bad, y'all. I got busted by my mama. And she didn't know what it was. I had, like, literally wrote down notes for what to say, and somehow I think, like, I had, like, the paper inside my pocket, and, like, it fell out inside the car, and my mom, like, saw it, and she freaked out. Like, what the fuck is this? But, man, it was messed up. Not to mention, the calls that I heard on there were really messed up, too. So, man, it was so crazy. Like, we would do, like, a 3-way conversation with my friends, and so, like, we would take turns, like, talking to the people in there. Men are so horny, oh my god. But anyway, yeah, that was fucked up, because we were 11 years old doing that. But back on subject. Good times. I like doing fun stuff, okay, for the most part. And that's not what these kids did. So long story short, while he is attractive, first of all, now that I'm grown, he's too short. Second of all, I recognize the importance of money. He's too broke. I would never want to marry him. Would I go on a date with him? Sure. Would I want to go after community dick? No, I'm probably good in that too, because I can only imagine where his penis has been at this point. And with that said, I'm good. Now, granted, he might see me as being a colorist, because I'm sure he saw that I married a Japanese man. Oh, like crap, you know, Ren got away. But at the same time, it's like, no, he had the opportunity, he chose that he didn't want me. And now you realize being cool has no value when you become an adult, unless you choose to also become cool in adulthood, which means getting a good career, getting educated, and having assets. Then you're cool as an adult. Same thing goes to women. You may be cool in school, but it's like, okay, if you're grown and you become a baby mama, you let yourself go weight-wise, you know, now you're not cool anymore. Nobody wants to be a stepdad. Men that have money, except men that you want, don't. Nobody wants the girls with all these piercings and tattoos and shit. Those are thug and hood niggas. You're not gonna see millionaires, doctors, lawyers. They don't marry these thugged out girls with the bull nose rings and the eyebrow piercings and the snake bites and head tattoos and shit. You look crazy. They would not want to bring you into their circles. So anyway, fast forward to Japan. Yeah, be real with yourself. A lot of you guys sabotage yourselves by not looking feminine, not caring about your weight, not caring about your hair, not caring about your makeup, and acting masculine. Just keeping it real. That's not attractive to Japanese men, nor is it attractive to black men. Not to mention, again, there are black men that do want to date you, maybe not who you want to date per se. So, just saying. I think it's fair. There's ugly black men here, there's ugly black women here. It is rare to find an attractive black man, just as it's rare to find an attractive black woman. So I see it from both sides. I understand that. So yeah, just putting it out there. But yeah, like I think that it's interesting that people act blind by this. But here goes the other half that I want to get into, because like the thing that inspired this whole video, I'm like 40 minutes into this now. Somebody made what do y'all call it? A tweet, a thread? It was on Threads. And so I don't even really use Threads, but they keep suggesting stuff that makes me want to look at it. Their algorithm is good, because every time that like I see like a post on Threads in my Instagram feed, I end up clicking over to Threads because it does catch my eye. Somebody made a post asking a stupid question they already know the answer to. Or maybe they did it because people in the comment section were either playing dumb or truly didn't know the answer. And they were saying that black women date white men because they know how to treat them. They treat them better. So why do white women date black men? And so even the black men in the comment section are playing dumb. And it's like, let me say the quiet part out loud, alright? And really, it's the same thing for Japanese women too. Non-black women like black men when they have money, or when they want to experiment with dick, or the third reason, which is one of the most popular reasons, when they're not seen as attractive within their own group. This is the reason why you stereotypically see fat white women, and even fat Asians, and ghetto Asians, and ghetto white girls, and Latinas, that end up with black men. Normally, the reason why they're attracted to them is because they have money, and because they give them attention even though they're not seen as attractive within their own racial group. That is the truth. Cold hard turkey, no hard feelings, flat, straightforward truth. That is the reason why. You have money, or number two, the biggest reason, is just the fact that they can date you and they couldn't date a man of their own race because they're not viewed as attractive. That's the blunt truth. You can make up all the excuses that you want to, and I know that there are exceptions to that rule, but I'm saying on average. I'm not even going to give any names because I'm not trying to insult nobody. But all I got to say is this. Look at some of the most famous black people that you know, or Blasians that you know here. Have you seen what their parents look like? That's all I have to say. If you look at who the Japanese parent is, you will quickly be able to determine that person would not be viewed as attractive amongst the Japanese. Thus, that person is normally more open and willing to date outside of the race. Is that always the case? No. For example, I have a black friend that lives here in Tokyo. His wife is gorgeous. She's beautiful. She's not ugly by any means. She's not fat. However, I will keep it real with you. The vast majority of black men that I've seen that are dating and are married to a Japanese woman, the girl is fat and or she's ugly in the face. Now, granted, black men have pretty low standards when it comes to what they find attractive. And so for them, they may think she's gorgeous because she's Asian. She has long hair. She has a thin body, whatever the case is. But she's not pretty to other Asians. I'm sorry to break it to you. So, the same thing goes to black women. A lot of these black girls inside these Asian man, black women groups or whatever, they be drooling over these ugly, dusty, fat, bald, and broke, unattractive, short, nerdy, geeky looking Asian men. But because they're Asian, oh my god, he's so handsome, the man of my dreams, how can I get me an Asian man? And it's like, they're not attractive. You couldn't pay me to date that man. Shoot, he needs to pay me to go on a date. Like, no way. But y'all be so thirsty. They be fighting. It'd be like 30 black girls, shoot, more than that, 100 black girls to one Asian man inside of these spaces. I'm not even kidding. So anyway, it goes both ways. Like, I'm not just getting on black men. Black women, y'all guilty of this shit too. So again, granted, not every black woman that I see is with an ugly, broke, dusty Asian man, but I'm gonna keep it real. The majority of Blasian relationships that I see, it's normally a broke, ugly, short, fat Asian man, Japanese man in particular, with a black girl that either looks similar, or at least she might be all of those bad stereotypes in one, but it's somebody that would be deemed as unattractive in the black and or white community. I say it bluntly, not trying to hurt people's feelings, but hey, I'm keeping it real. Nobody wants to say the quiet part out loud, but we all see this. Now, granted, other people's opinions don't matter. As long as you love your spouse, all the fucking matters in the day. There's people that look at me think I'm the ugliest girl in the world. There's people that look at my husband think he's the ugliest man in the world. You want to know what? I don't give a fuck. I love my husband, I love my spouse, and I find him to be attractive. He's actually on par with exactly what I've been saying since before I met him about what I want in a husband. Meets the looks, meets the, salary criteria, meets the height criteria, meets the language criteria. Everything that I said that I wanted, I literally got. I hit the husband lottery, as you all say it yourselves. I got exactly what I wanted. Now, granted, you may look at my husband, you may think, I don't like this man, I don't like whatever. Well, okay, that's your opinion, and that's why he's not your husband. And that's why you're all single, and you don't have a damn ring. But that's not my problem, right? That's yours. So I'm not going to get on you about that. But here goes my thing. I feel like a lot of people, if they're to be honest with themselves, they don't find their spouse attractive. They find their race attractive. Let me say that again. A lot of black people here, it's not limited to black people, white people too, but a lot of black people here, if you were to be real with yourself, you're not physically attracted to your spouse. You're physically, or shall I say mentally attracted to their race. You're fetishizing them. You like the fact that they're Japanese, and so you're willing to date anybody that's Japanese. And to be honest, I feel like some black women here feel the way about black men. I ain't gonna say no, but shoot, I ain't gonna say some names. I remember the Jamaican bitch that I used to work with. She was so thirsty for black dick. She was getting scammed by men, including white guys. And so it's like, how can you be so thirsty for a relationship that you don't realize somebody's mooching off for you and using you as a woman? Like, I can get it for a man, but it's like, ma'am, you have tits and a vagina. There's no reason for you to ever get used by anybody in your life. You should be the one using people, if anything. But yeah, she was giving away money, giving people a free place to stay, doing all type of stuff to men. It's like, you do realize that man is clearly using you. But for her, she loved her black men. And so she was open to, dating Japanese men. But it seemed like she was really just more keen on dating, Asian men. And here was the thing. She wasn't fat. She wasn't even ugly. If I were to be real with you, I don't think she was ugly. In fact, she's closer to being beautiful than I would say she's being ugly. I would consider her to be an average looking woman. Maybe a little bit above. But, to each their own. I can see a black man seeing her as attractive. Not gonna lie to you. Now, I'm gonna be real. If you put her up next to me, most black women find me more attractive than her. But that's another story. So anyway, back on subject, yes, like, for her, she just wanted to be with a black man, I think, ultimately. And so she was dating, these African guys, and she was from the Caribbean herself, so I don't know if she ever dated somebody that was from the Caribbean. But long story short, she get into these dates, situationships with men who was like, they were using her, making up stories about what their job was, lying about, oh, I was a former soccer player, oh, my visa situation, all this type of weird stuff going on. And so it's like, why are y'all so thirsty for black men? Like, Date men of value. Like, you ain't gotta date a rich man. You ain't gotta date a man that's making 10 million, 15, 20 million. I'm not even talking about those 30 million guys. I'm just saying, why are you all so desperate to be with a black man that you would be okay with being in poverty? And this is why our community is fucked up. Between our men wanting to be thieves and bums and play in and out of jail and on drugs, and then our women, they're just the biggest dummies when it comes to choosing partners. And I'm not going to blame them entirely, because it takes two. Choosing a bad partner does not excuse the person for being a bad partner. So it's still on black men for their lack of leadership and their lack of being decent men. You can blame black women for choosing poorly, but the real blame is on you for not being a real man, stepping up to the plate, marrying her, and taking care of your kids. The buck stops at you, black men. However, like I said, we'll be fair here and be balanced. Yes, black women have a choosing problem, and black men have a responsibility problem and a leadership problem. So it's like, I just don't get that. And granted, I never saw the man. I don't think she might show us a picture, but like I don't remember what he looked like. But long story short, I just remember what she told us about the guy. Everything about him said red flag, scam, liar. But nope, she was delusional. She loved the idea of potentially having a black boyfriend. And hey, this is the reason why you're like damn near 40. She's gonna be 40 years old next year. I don't know if she ever got married. I don't keep tabs on the bitch. But I just thought about that during the topic of this video, because she was somebody that was thirsty for black dick. And so, I had other people that I've been friends with that, solely dated black men, and they would cry and complain about their options here. And it's like, if you want to be with a black man so bad, leave Japan. And same thing goes for black men. If you want to be with a black woman so bad, leave Japan. And this is my problem with the double standard. They'll treat you like you're a gold digger, you're crazy for expecting to pay for dates and, to provide for them. But they have no problem doing it when they get into a relationship with a Japanese woman. And that's another problem that I have. It's like, I'm not about to do crap that you wouldn't have another woman do. I'm not. Sorry. I'm not begging you to pay for a date when I could literally date any other Japanese, Asian, white, whatever other race man, and they wouldn't even let me pull my wallet out my bag. Like, they would automatically be I wouldn't even see the bill. I've literally dated men who I never saw the bill. Like, they pretended to go to the bathroom and instead they went up to go pay the check. Like, that's the type of stuff that I got with Japanese men. Never experienced that with a black man. Just keeping it real. Now, am I saying all black men do that? No, that's not true. But I'm gonna keep it real. It's a rare thing. And I think a lot of us to do with the fact that a lot of black men have not been taught by their fathers how to be men. So they spend their whole lives running around like bitches, which I find really funny too, because a lot of them have a lot of hate for black women. It's like, you act like a black woman. But that's another story. So, anyway, all I gotta say is this. If you love black people so much, maybe don't choose to go to a non-black country to live, work, study, whatever. And also understand that for every finger that we as black women point at black men, there's two of them pointing back at us. We're kind of being hypocritical too. You can't get mad when you see the sight of a black man with a Japanese woman, but then also you don't want them to get mad when they see you with a Japanese man. And I should also add this too, as a black woman myself, married to a Japanese man, I get side-eyed from black women that see me with a Japanese man. And so, I said this before my other video, why the fuck are y'all here if y'all bothered by interracial relationships? Not to mention, y'all can't make up your mind. Y'all want us to clap and praise you when you get yourself an Asian man, but then if you see somebody else that has one, y'all feel bitter and jealous. I told y'all on Patreon, I lost a bunch of people on Patreon. The moment I announced that I got married, they'll lie and make up all the excuses. Oh, I had to leave for this reason, and oh, it's not because of you. Right. Like I said, I literally, it was at least maybe like, I don't know, 10 people plus that dropped from it. I mean, instantly. Like, people that have been there for a while, just gone. And look, you don't owe me no excuse. I don't really give a fuck. I found it comical. It's like, so me finally getting what I've always wanted makes you mad that I have what you don't have. Basically, you're jealous of me. Now, granted, I can see feeling jealous in like the soft type of way. Like, I was like, I wish I was you. Because I felt that way towards my friends. I tell you guys about, some people that I went to school with, they got married like shortly after, I left Lakeland. And so I understand that. But I mean, so much so to the point that like, you hate me, you don't want to see my content, you gotta unfollow me on Instagram, leave Patreon, unsubscribe from me. It's like, okay, so either you were secretly gay and you had some illusion that I would eventually date you, because there were some black men that left too. And it's like, I've been dating Asian men this whole time, and so me finally getting married to ones where you finally drew the line, like, look, I can support you dating Asian men as a black man. But you marrying one, that's where I draw the line. Like, I didn't know that I had a bunch of Dr. Umars, on my channel. Which, speaking of which, I've never watched a single video from him. I've only seen clips from him. And I only knew about him because one of the black girls I used to work with, the American girl, she used to talk about him and Chrissy all the time. I never watched. In fact, she's the one who introduced me to Kevin Samuels. I wasn't even looking for their content. I watched some video. I don't even know what video it was. And after watching it, I think it was whoever recommended Mahogany Pink to me. I think it was after I watched that video. It got suggested to me. I think that's what happened. Or maybe it was the reverse. Because I don't even know what we got on the subject of Mahogany Pink. But long story short, I clicked on it and I was like, oh, this is the person that she was talking about. Wow, because I never heard of these people before. So anyway, I didn't even know what Black woman empowerment was, but a lot of people apparently was watching my channel was thinking that my channel is one of them. But nope, it's not, because like I said, I feel like anytime that you put yourself underneath an umbrella or give yourself a label, you limit yourself and you stop yourself from being able to be yourself. You can't have your own opinion. And for me, I agree with a lot of what they have to say. We do have problems with the Black community, and really it starts with Black men. I agree with that. However, I think a lot of it is hypocritical. For example, advising people to not make biracial babies, and a lot of them being afraid to have children. And it's like, you can't hate biracial people or mixed race people and then want to marry a non-black person yourself. And then I get the idea behind it, but that's racist in itself. And also, you do realize that you can have a biracial child and just raise them correctly. For example, my children will understand that they are both Black and they're Japanese. I'm not going to teach them to hate Black men or hate Black women, but I will teach them that I don't care who they marry. I want them to marry somebody, if my child, for my girls, I want them to marry a man that will provide, not somebody that's going to be asking them to split 50-50, not a man that wants to fuck them for 6 years and then be engaged for 12. I want them to have standards in place. I also want to teach them to love and take care of their hair, regardless of how it comes out. My kids can have 4C hair, they can have 3C, they can have 3A, 2A, I don't give a fuck. I want them to understand that all hair is good hair. I want them to love their hair and know to not make fun of people based off of their phenotypes, their features, their hair texture, their nose, their lips, their eyes, whatever. I can teach them that as their parent. I don't have to be afraid of having a mixed race kid because of the existence of bad biracials. That should be a title, bad biracials. But anyway, I'm aware there are people that are biracial, that feel superior, that act like assholes, that are rude, that are disrespectful, that talk down on Black women, that are, racially unambiguous, or that are 100% Black, so to speak. I can acknowledge those people do exist, but I also think that it's unfair to label all biracials as being these bad, evil people that don't see themselves as being Black, when in actuality, a lot of Black people gatekeep the Black. Look, I'm not even biracial, and they tried to gatekeep it from me. They even accused me of bleaching. It's like, you do realize it's summertime and I have a tan. My skin gets lighter when it's wintertime. In fact, even in the winter here, because it's sunny, I still kind of keep a tan. I spend a lot of time outside. And then not just that, you do realize lighting plays a role too. For example, my light right now is more of a yellowish hue, so my skin looks darker right now because I'm under a yellow light. You put me under a white light, my skin looks lighter. Wow, science. And not just that, if you look at my old pictures, you will see that I have pictures where I have light skin. Not that it matters, but again, apparently it does. So you can't speak out of both sides of your mouth. You can't bully them into being in the Black community. And then when they other themselves, then you say, hey, you're one of us. You're a colorist. Okay, like, make up your mind. Are they Black or are they not Black? So anyway, you as a Black parent, whether you're a Black father or a Black mother, please understand it is your responsibility to teach your child what they are, to teach them how to treat other people. And I do think that there is a difference between having a Black mother and a Black father. A lot of Black fathers don't think to teach these things. They just let their white mother or Asian mom handle everything. And I feel like this caused a lot of, racial confusion for children because they grew up feeling like they're whatever their mother is because you spend a lot of time with your mom. For example, here in Japan, a lot of the time when I see Blasian kids here, like at school, they feel distance from, how can I put it? They don't like being around Black teachers or other Black people because it draws more attention to their Blackness. I think they find it embarrassing and it calls the kids, oh, you look like the teacher, whatever. So I feel like that's an issue. And a lot of it also has to do, their hair too. A lot of them, they want to get perms, want to relax their hair. And a lot of them, they don't take care of their hair properly. They wash their hair every day. They convince themselves their hair needs to be washed every day. And it's like, man, you have 4C hair. Even with my 3C hair, I don't wash my hair more than twice a week, and typically it could be anywhere from once a week to once every other week to once a month. There ain't no way in hell you got 4C hair, you washing that shit every day, and your hair is healthy. You're literally killing your hair. But whatever, I digress. You don't want to hear what I have to say because you're convinced that you're Japanese. So, and then granted, like I said, they are, but it's like, you're not the same as a 100% Japanese person, and that's okay. You're biracial. That's cool. But again, having a Black father that doesn't teach you these things becomes problematic because here you are with your Japanese mother that didn't love you enough to do the research and to teach you how to take care of your skin, how to take care of your hair. The amount of ashy children that I see around here, it's like, how do you love your Black husband but you don't love your black child enough to do research on how to take care of them. And then you as a black father, you should be ashamed of yourself for allowing your Japanese wife, girlfriend, whatever the fuck she is to you, to mismanage you all's children. But then again, as a black person, I'm not surprised. So anyway, there is a difference. And I think some biracial people don't like hearing that, but there's truth to that. I'm sorry to break it to you. I know you can't help who your parents happen to be, but I do find that when I meet people that have a black mother, there is a difference in how, in fact, I even saw an Instagram video where a biracial woman that had a black mom and a white father even acknowledged that there is a difference. So there you have it. A biracial person said it themselves. So yeah, like, I think that's a very true stereotype, so to speak. There's a difference in how they are raised and how they think. Now granted, just because you have a black father does not mean that you're a bad person, you're a colorist, you're whatever. But at the same time, I can also keep it real. When I've come across people that are anti-black, that are rude, that have that I'm better than you sort of personality, it was always a person that had the black father. I've yet to see it with a person that had a black mother and a non-black, father. So they exist, but I'm just saying my own personal, my ring got caught in my hair, trying to fix it. I've personally never seen it, but just because I haven't seen it does not mean it does not exist, which is why I said it does exist. I just personally haven't seen it. So yeah. Anyway, I'm done, you guys. I could rant and ramble about this forever. I just thought that it was... Oh, wait, I didn't finish. I'm sorry, I'm not done. So let me answer the question, then I'll finish it. The reality is, that is it. And also, for the people who are saying, oh, that's not true, white women don't know how to treat black women better, I think what people are really getting at is, and this part will be true, and it's not just white men, it's Asian men too, they know how to provide and how to be masculine, how to be dominant and father figures, which black men overall do not. For example, like I said before, when I'm dating Asian men, and even the white men that I have dated, they pay for everything. I'm not trying to argue over going 50-50. They choose careers that actually pay bills. They want to provide, they want to take care, and they've been taught by their parents to do this. They aspire to be fathers. They aspire to be husbands. Granted, not all of them do. Some of them do want forever girlfriends, 10-year relationships, waste your time. They're F-boys too. I'm not saying that they're all perfect and black men are all bad, but I will say it is much harder to find a black man that is dateable and marriage material than it is to find an Asian or a white man. Just keeping it real. I will also argue, keeping it real, stating facts here, domestic violence. There are much higher rates of abuse in relationships between a black man and a black woman than a black woman with a non-black man. Keeping it real. Do white men and Asian men beat on MSA black women? Of course, that exists for any race of people. But I will say overall, it is a safer bet to be in a relationship with a non-black man. So yes, I would actually have to agree with that stereotype. They do treat black women better. They take care of them. They provide. They treat them like women. They are more chivalrous. They do stuff that black men will not do for us. So yes, you do get a better dating experience overall. Exceptions do exist, but overall, you get a better dating experience. Black men, calm the fuck down. Likewise, I will argue that non-black women take better care of their bodies. They are typically in better shape. They are typically more feminine acting. They typically dress more feminine, and they typically are more on the natural end than black women are. Black women get mad. I'm just stating facts. I don't give a fuck. Just because most are doesn't mean that you are. For example, I'm not a baby mama. I never had an abortion either. And also, I don't take birth control. And also, I did have weave, but that was only because I burned my hair out. This is my natural hair right now. I don't wear heavy makeup or shit like that. Now, granted, like I said, there have been times where I have, but even then, it was always natural looking makeup. So anyway, these are things that black men have complained about. I don't have a single tattoo. I have no exotic piercings. I'm not going to get into that, whether y'all think it's colorist or anti-black for men to say that they have these standards they want. I don't give a shit. I'm stating what men have said they wanted and what you guys have chosen to overall not give a fuck about. That's your own prerogative. I'm just telling you. I have to keep it real. There are more non-black women that are physically fit and take good care of their bodies, and I honestly say are more feminine. Non-black women tend to be more feminine than black women, by far. We literally are out in the streets fighting each other, acting ratchet, wearing no clothes, etc. The Japanese women are more modest. They're more, I'd even say polite. They're more friendly. I'm just saying. Is it all of them? No. Do they fight and get ratchet? Yes. Do they get drunk and be sloppy? Yes. They do all of those things too. But overall, not on the same level as black women. Overall, keyword, overall. Overall does not mean everyone. For example, I've never done any of that shit. I've never been passed out, sloppy drunk somewhere before. I don't walk outside half naked. I don't do any type of stuff. I don't do any of that stereotypical stuff. But just because I don't and my friends don't does not mean that now us exceptions become the rule. So please understand that. Same thing goes to black men. You may pay for all of your dates. You may be a high value man as a black brother, but at the same time, you are not everyone. Don't lie to yourself. The majority of your friends are bums. The majority of the black men in your family are bums. Let's keep it real. Likewise, love my brother, love my father, but I can't deny the fact that they definitely fit the idea of a bookie. And then beyond just them, if I go out into I have not a single black male member in my family that is educated and capable of providing, nor do they provide. None of them. Not a single one. None of them. I don't have an uncle, not a brother, not a cousin. Do I even have a friend? Like, I don't think none of my black male friends are married besides the one here in Japan that I can think of. And I know a lot of black men. Not even saying it to be racist. Don't know a single one. I know way more black women that have good careers. STEM fields, working in, math and science and biology and do all type of shit. They're engineers, but I keep it real. Most of them are single, though. Now, you can blame it on their unwillingness to date hypogamously and marry a broke-ass, bum-ass black man, but I'm just keeping it real with you. So, I see it from both sides. Black men that have money, they don't have the type of women that they want to marry. They're dealing with a bunch of ghetto ratchet, baby mamas, fat, unattractive, drag queen looking girls. And then the girls that do look good, they overlook them due to their colorism and preference for non-black women. So it goes both ways. Now granted, not every black man is dating or marrying an Asian, white, whatever other race woman because of colorism, preferences, whatever else. But I won't lie to you, the majority of them are, the ones that have money in particular. So I think a lot of black men, like for example, the ones that are going to be in my comment section, don't understand the intelligent black women. We're not talking about you pookies in the hood that are dating the ghetto Latina girls or the ghetto white girls. We don't want you all either. Like the smart ones don't. We're not Krishan Rock over here, right? We're not fighting over you. We don't want you. The Dusties in my comment section, we don't want you guys. The black women that are complaining about black men not dating them, they're really talking about the high value black men. The ones that are taking the money out of the community. The Eddie Murphys, so to speak. The people like that. They're not referring to Tyrone in the hood that has a $30K a year job or $20K. We don't want you all, okay? Like, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of them do want y'all, but those of us that are a part of, well, I won't say those of us because I'm not really in y'all community, but y'all kind of threw me in there. The divestors, so to speak, they're not talking about you. They don't want you. You're a part of the problem too, but you're not who they want. So I think it's also important to understand, again, this whole divesting thing started as a response, a retaliation to black men dating out. It's not doing the same thing. Still, deep down inside, which is why there's so much complaints and comparisons, black women, even the so-called divestors, they do want black men. They do prefer black men. The problem is the black men that they want don't want or prefer them. They don't approach them. If any of these divestor channels, divestor girls, or whatever got approached by a black man that had money, I can assure you 9 or 8 out of 10 of them would say yes to that man. The same is not true in the reverse. Most black men that have money like that, at best, they might make you, a friends of benefits, a little one-night stand, a little casual fling, but they would rather date a less attractive white or Asian woman and marry that person over you. Even if you look good, you're the right weight, everything else perfect, you ain't got no kids, no abortions, none of the type of stereotypical crap, they don't care. They simply don't want a black woman. They see it as a trophy. They say it themselves. Don't get mad at me. I'm repeating your own words. They literally view being with a non-black woman, or at the very least, a biracial woman, somebody that's biracial or mixed passing woman, racially ambiguous, whatever you want to call it, that is what they see as a trophy wife. So they want that. You are exotic to them. And I ain't gonna judge you for it. I'm just acknowledging, stating the facts. So black women are now matching that energy. We don't date the same way. Black women getting money does not make them want to date outside their race. So nowadays there's more that are considering doing that, but I honestly feel like there's a lot of talk on social media and not a lot of action when it comes to black women. A lot of people are claiming to be divestors, wanting to date outside the race, but they don't actually act on it. Whereas with black men, a lot of them are talking on it, and they do act on it if they can. Even if they don't have money, they will still go out of their way to get the most, wonky, fat, unattractive, non-black girl that they can find, because they just want a non-black woman. I ain't gonna say no names, but there are some popular YouTube channels that are out there that have plenty of couples that meet the criteria what I'm talking about, where it's, unattractive black man, it's a bum, unattractive, not gonna say any names, other race women that are also unattractive and bums, but hey, they have tons of subscribers now because people like the content, and now they're both rich, so it worked out for them. They leveled up their partner, so it just ain't for me. Do what you want to do. I ain't judging you. I'm just stating the obvious. Let's keep it real. There's a little hypocrisy going on. We both date outside of a race. We're both living in a foreign country. I don't think that we should act like we own either person's race. But I do think that it is stupid that people act like they're, I don't know, upset over seeing somebody dead outside the race when you chose to come here and you likely do it yourself, and you likely want to if you're not doing it. So you wouldn't want people to be treating you bad and side-eyeing you, so why do you do it to other people? So it's stupid. It's whatever. I can go on about this forever. So yes, sorry to break it to you, but non-black men do treat black women better than black men do, by far. It doesn't even come close. The dating experience is much better. If you've never dated outside your race, you need to try it. It is much better dating non-black men. Not gonna lie to you. It is. Now, what I will say is that when it comes to black men, why they are liked by non-black women, it typically comes down to dick size, fetish of, sex, want to experience that. And then number two, not in the right order, just saying, the number two thing is money. Black men are really easy to sucker into marrying, unlike non-black men. They have higher standards for what they consider as attractive enough to marry when they have money. Black men have very low standards. The average looking white girl is seen as attractive to them, and this is why you see a lot of them, when they get money, they'll marry these ugly to average looking white, Asian, Latina girls. So a lot of the time they're being used by non-black women, or they're either being used for money or used for sex. As for black women, for them, the dating experience is better. They are treated better, and that's a big reason why they do want to marry out. Because instead of us struggling and working hard and being men our whole lives, you get to relax, let your hair down. Look, for example, I'm not working. If I were to marry a black man here, I would be working. I would still be a teacher right now. I'm grateful that I don't have to live that life. Just keeping it real. The average black man does not make enough money to provide. And the average black man that does make enough money to provide, they have high standards. They don't want to get married anytime soon. And when I say high standards, I don't mean like high standards as in like, oh, I don't want to compete. No, I have no problem with competing. I mean high standards that you cannot compete with. I can't change my race. I am a black woman. So if you don't like black women, I can't do anything about that. Sorry to break it to you. So, yeah. Why jump through all those hoops when another man that makes more, has more stability, more education, and is higher up in the hierarchy, so to speak, keeping it real? Why would I want... I'm just saying. Likewise, I get it for black men. I don't want my black son to feel obligated to, my half-black son, to feel obligated to marry a black woman for the sake of that she's black. If you're a baby mama, you got kids, you got them piercings, tattoos, etc., you're ghetto, you're uneducated, I want my son to stay far away from you. I'm sorry. I don't believe in all that racial loyalty shit. I believe in finding a good partner that you like, you love, you're attracted to. If they happen to be black, great. But if they're not, I don't give a fuck. I want my children to be happy when I'm gone. I want them to be taken care of. I don't want them to be abused and battered and have their lives taken away from them. I don't care about all that black love bullshit. Sorry. It's literally a game. It's being sold to black women, but not to black men. I'm done. I could talk about this forever. I'm tired. I'm hungry. I'm gonna wrap this video where I am, so... yeah, this is going to cause to ruffle some feathers. Y'all can get mad at me, but like I said, a lot of y'all don't want to say this, but a lot of y'all not finding black partners because you're ugly. And a lot of you are also being hypocritical because you want to date outside your race too, and or you do. But you're mad and triggered because you see somebody else doing the same thing that either you want, or that you were just doing, or that you are currently doing yourself. So make up your mind. And... yeah, there are better options. As a woman dating outside your race, you get to deal with men that have more status, more money, more education, can provide a better life than you, for you, which is exactly what all women want. So the same cannot be said in reverse. In fact, I would actually argue, I know of more black women here with like STEM field jobs, like doing, tech related jobs, engineer type stuff here, than I know of black men that have this sort of jobs here. The average black men that I've met here, I know a few that are doing IT related work and a couple of engineers, but the majority of them, they're just teachers or a translator at best. Like, they don't have good paying jobs. So, yeah. I see it from both sides. I'm having a balanced perspective here. Y'all can get mad at me anyway, but I don't give a fuck. I said the obvious. I didn't sugarcoat it, said it to you bluntly. So people are not obligated to date you because you're the same race. They're also not obligated to date you because you come from the same country. So, yeah. Black people date who they want to, marry who they want to, mind your own business. And you don't know. This could be the first time they've ever dated an Asian person or the 50th time. Why does it matter? They're not going to date you anyway. So, and you shouldn't want people to feel obligated and forced to date you that don't really like you to begin with. I think that's dumb. Just let people date who they want to date, and if they don't want you, see it as you dodged a bullet. Because imagine people being forced to date somebody they didn't really like. It's like, how they had arranged marriages back in the day. Like, why would you want that? So, I'm through, you guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Get mad. Argue in the comment section down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Again, like, we can make up all the excuses for why black women are masculine and why black men are broke. But who gives a fuck? They're just that. Excuses. You can blame your parents, blame your ancestors, blame the system. I don't give a fuck. At some point, you gotta take accountability for yourself. Okay, you don't have a day in your life. Alright, who gives a fuck? Learn how to be feminine. Alright, you didn't grow up with a father. Your mother was broke. So now that's your excuse for not going to school and wanting to be an iCloud, whatever they call it, SoundCloud rapper. Okay. So if you want to use that as an excuse, then don't blame when you don't get the type of woman that you want. Don't blame when the baddies look over you for the white and Asian men. Just keeping it real. I cannot tell you how many times I had black men slide in my DMs. Oh, like, it's good to see a chocolate sister out in these streets. No, sir. I'm not dating no damn factory worker. I'm sorry. I'm not even kidding you. I did it once with an Asian man. I was like, nope, never again. Look, if it make you feel any better, black men, I don't date bums that are Asian either. I don't. So, they don't got money. I don't date them either. I have a husband now, but back when I was dating, nope, I didn't get in the time of day either. So, look, my dating standards go for everyone. I don't discriminate. If you are black and you got money and you're handsome and you're educated, yeah, you're eligible to date me. But, if you didn't, then you weren't. Likewise, same thing goes for Asian men. I don't care if you're Asian. You actually have money and look good. You 5 foot, I don't know, 4'11" and shit, and ain't got no money, living with your mama. No, thank you, sir. Literally look over you to someone else. So, you got to be competitive. You refuse to compete, competition's still going. You're just not a part of it. So, anyway, I'm done, you guys. Leave a comment down below. Please like this video, subscribe if you haven't already. Please support my channel by considering supporting me on Patreon for $5 per month. You'll get access to over 150 videos instantly upon signing up. $5 per month. If you cannot afford it, please do not sign up or else you will be banned. You can also follow me on social media. I have an Instagram and Twitter at Comic95. All of my social media links are in the description box down below. Please check those out. Please check out my channel's homepage. I have videos on working, studying, dating, living here in Japan, including a playlist on black stuff in Japan, my own thoughts, my own opinions on that. I kind of talked about this topic before in an older video, so please check that out. And yeah, I guess that's all for now. So thank you so much for listening, and thank you for watching, and I hope you'll watch another video.